Welcome to Language Time. Winnie the Pooh, go say hello to everybody. Big hugs, big hugs. So Winnie the Pooh is visiting us today because today we're going to talk about bears. Not soft, cuddly teddy bears, not honey bears like what Winnie the Pooh is modeled on. No, 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 no. We're going to talk about black bears. Black bears like these. These are what black bears usually look like. Although they can be yellow, they can be white even. Usually they're actually black. Here's a good picture of one. There we go. See, that's a black bear. Look at those feet, they're huge. He has 4 toes, right? So yeah, black bears do live in this country. Oh, this is a good picture. Here, look at this one. So cute. This is a mama with her baby, which is called a bear cub. And look at the claws. Look at mom's claws and baby's claws. Real black bears are not soft and cuddly like teddy bears. No, they're actually quite aggressive if you confront them, especially if you see a mom with her baby cub, she might defend it. So where do they live, you might ask? Well, there are some in this country. Let me see if I can find North America. Here we go. There's North America. Can you see Miami? There it is. No black bears in Miami. Where you would find them, you would have to go to Alaska. See, there's Alaska. Much of Canada. And in the mountainous areas of North America, where there are mountains. I know that there are black bears in the mountains north from New York City because that's where my dad lives. And he has a fun, well, scary and fun family story now that a medium-sized black bear came up to the front door of the house where he lives. He lives in a town called Ancramdale. I think I showed you pictures of the snowy trip Pamela and I took. So the black bear went up to the back door, probably trying to get the food from the bird feeders that were hanging off of some trees in front of the door. And the family dog Figaro came outside and started barking at the black bear. And my dad followed behind to see what he was barking at. And then he backed away and went back in the house and closed the door and called Figaro, but Figaro wouldn't come in. Because the black bear, instead of running away, turned around at the dog. But Figaro he looks kind of like a black bear. He has black curly fur. I think I showed you a picture. Anyway, Figaro, he kept barking and barking at this black bear, a wild bear, until the bear scurried up into the tree in one of the heavy branches and stayed up there for literally like more than an hour. My dad was inside the house watching outside the window, safe behind the window, and Figaro was just row, 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 and the black bear was looking down at him. Finally, the black bear jumped down and ran back up into the hills. See, my dad lives on a mountain up from New York City. So this little fluffy dog did a good job with his big voice. And yes, bears have very good sense of hearing, even better sense of smell. What do they eat, you might ask? Well, you're welcome to take your own search on the internet to find out and let us know what you find out. But I do know that bears like to eat berries, plants, and sometimes small animals. They don't eat people, but maybe small animals. And they have very long claws. As you could see, they run super fast and they're good climbers. So if you ever see a black bear, what they say to do is play dead. Literally, don't move, don't stare it in the eyes. Just be very relaxed and try to stay away from them if you can. So yes, people who live in the mountains cover their garbage and try not to leave food out to attract those bears, because they will come around and people and bears don't mix very well. Well, today we are going to have a listening story about hiking. It's about hiking. And the Hunter family are going hiking all together and have a little adventure. So for this listening story, please turn up your listening ears, put on your thinking cap, and relax your playing hands and your running feet, and just sit back and enjoy a story. And at the end, there are this many questions to see if you understood the story and if you were really, really smart and picked up the details. Remember, this is how you get ready for first grade. So here we go. The title of our story is Cades Cove. There's the sign, Dad, shouted Grant. Cades Cove entrance. I hope we see a bear, exclaimed Dave. The Hunters were on vacation in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, and they were planning to spend the day at Cades Cove, a beautiful valley with 5,000 acres of open meadow. They had heard that it was a good place to see animals and historical buildings. A park ranger greeted them at the entrance. Where are the bears? Asked Dave. The cherry trees are full right now, and the bears really love the cherries, so that's probably where you'll see some, explained the ranger. He handed Dave a map of the cove and pointed out the area to Dad on the map. After the ranger answered more of Dad's questions, the family started on their drive through the valley. They planned to stop along the way at the pioneer homes and churches marked on the map. Just a few minutes into the ride, Mom exclaimed, "Look, over there, I see 3 deer." "Shh," Grant whispered. "Look, Abby, look under those trees." He was excited about being the first child in the family to spot the deer. Dad pulled the car over so they could get a better view. The deer do not seem to be bothered by the traffic on the road. I guess they're used to having people watch them. Later, they stopped to see one of the pioneer churches. The family sat in the front row, and Dave pretended to be the song leader as they sang Amazing Grace together. Dad led them out to the graveyard at the back of the church. It was hard to read the words on the old gravestones. The Hunters decided they'd like to walk down a nature trail for a while. The ranger had told them that 400 to 800 white-tailed deer live in Cades Cove, and the Hunters saw many deer. As they rounded a bend in the trail, they followed a stream for a while. Abby giggled and pointed. She was the first one to spot an otter as it jumped into the stream. Where are the cherry trees? Dave was still on the lookout for those bears the ranger had told the family about. According to my map, they are down the trail, said Dad as they climbed back in the car. They drove to the grist mill. Dave seemed to forget about bears as they watched the grist mill work and explored several other pioneer buildings near the mill. The Hunters found a picnic table in the shade and got ready for lunch. Mom had packed a yummy meal of chicken, chips, carrot sticks, watermelon, and cookies. Later, as they wound their way to the end of the trail, Dave had his eyes practically glued to the window as he tried to be the first to spot a bear. "Stop!" Dave shouted. "Over there! 2 bears!" Dad pulled the car over and they all peered out to see the bears. The bears were gobbling cherries as fast as they could. "The ranger was right," Dave exclaimed. He got a big smile on his face. "They like cherries. Wait until I talk to Grandma and Grandpa. They won't believe that we saw two bears on our vacation. Two bears eating cherries. The end. Well, are you ready to ask some questions about this story and see how much you picked up from your listening ears and your attention? Okay, first question. Why do so many people like to visit Cades Cove? I can think of two reasons. One is because it has so many animals, and two, it has pioneer buildings. Which animal did Dave want to see? Right, a bear. Who answered Dad's question about Cades Cove? The park ranger. What advice did the ranger give Dad about finding bears for Dave and the other family members to see? To look near the cherry trees. Good, I'm sure you got that right. Why did Grant say shh and whisper when Mother saw the first deer? Maybe he thought Abby would scream and scare them away, right? Did the deer run away? No. Have you ever seen unusual animals while you were on vacation? You have? You could tell us about it on Friday in our Zoom room birthday bash. Tell us about some interesting, unusual animals that you've seen. I saw otters playing in a lake, just like Abby. Why do you think the hunters enjoyed seeing the old church? Why do you think? Well, we know they love the Lord, and maybe they were interested to see how churches from long ago looked, right? Curiosity? What did they do as they sat in the front row of the church? Two things, remember? They sang Amazing Grace, and Dave pretended to be the song leader. Why were the words on the gravestones hard to read? Well, they were very worn. They were from a long, long time ago, and the weather had worn them off, right? Was it unusual to see deer along the nature trail? No, because there are 400 to 800 deer in Cades Cove. Not unusual at all. What made Abby giggle as they walked along the stream? Remember what she saw? An otter. It splashed into the stream. When did Dave finally get to see the bears? Near the end of the trail. Remember, I'm saying when. What were the bears eating? Cherries. Good. Do you think Dave would like it if Grandma and Grandpa had come along on the trip? Of course. After all, he is the one who said he wanted to tell them. He couldn't wait to tell them about the bears and the cherries. Do you enjoy telling your grandparents about your experiences? It's special. It's wonderful to have grandparents that you can tell all the things that you do and see, right? Well, Winnie the Pooh, where did you go? Oh, he was taking a nap. Bears like to nap after they eat all that honey. So yes, Winnie the Pooh, say goodbye to our friends. See you soon. Come right back for phonics. I'll see you in a few minutes.